I'm at the bad guy for wanting my wife to stay up during a road trip and talk to me. So I'm writing this right now at the hotel where I am because I'm genuinely at a loss of words. I don't think I'm in the wrong, but at the same time, she looks really pissed at me. My wife, me, and our 2-year-old are going on our first family road trip to California. We rotate driving in shifts. The problem is that when I was driving, my shift fell during the night. And so I was feeling really lonely and bored as I was driving. I'm not someone who can be left to his own thoughts very well, and I need people around me. I thrive on energy and excitement. My wife is a bit of the opposite. She's generally fine with being left alone and can sit quietly for hours and hours upon end. The problem is that around 11 p.m., I was driving and my wife and our son were in the back seat. I was feeling isolated, so I shook her awake. But then our son woke up, and well, you can probably guess what happens next. Once he quieted down, my wife began to quietly blow up at me about how much of a dump I was being. I told her that it wasn't fair for her to just sleep like that, and it's made me feel like a driver. She then said that she doesn't force me to stay awake or engage with her, but I told her that that's a cheap blow because we're not the same people, and I keep my mouth shut while she was driving because I know she doesn't like the distractions even though it bothers me terribly. So the least she could do is to stop being selfish and keep me sane. Despite my perfectly logical answer, she apparently got emotional and then started whispering, screaming some shit about how raising one toddler is hard enough and that she doesn't know there was another one in the car who needed his swims catered to at every moment. And at this point, since she got rude, I decided to disengage. Now our whole trip is falling apart and she's making me out to be the bad guy. So what do you think? I'm not the bad guy for making a joke about my girlfriend's mom being lazy. Hi everyone. I live with my girlfriend and her parents in a house that my girlfriend was apparently strong-armed into buying. I was there, so don't want to make too many judgments on this. By her parents 3 years ago, when their business went south and they were worried they wouldn't have anywhere to live. At the same time, she bought the house my girlfriend and I were looking at moving in together. Anyway, we were both renting separately, and she said she realized it wasn't a deal for me to live with her parents, so she'll be happy for us to rent somewhere else to live. But the mortgage on the new house was the top of what she could afford, so I'll have to pay for the whole rental. To get the rental she liked will have me spending 3x plus what I was used to paying. So I said no and moved into her house. I work full-time and pay what full market rent will be for a room in her house. Her parents haven't worked since moving in, apart from about a brief time where one of my girlfriend's friends got her mom a job in a supermarket, which she quit after about 4 weeks because apparently the manager was abusive. Again, I wasn't there, so I'm not going to judge. I see her dad apply for jobs and get rejected, I assume because of his age. But her mom doesn't do anything from what I can see. They do very little around the house in terms of cooking, cleaning, etc. I'm not saying they should, but I've lived somewhere rent-free, somewhere my daughter paid for. She wouldn't have to leave to finger around the house. Maybe that's just me. I sympathize with her dad. It's clear he hates being unemployed, so I spoke to them about starting a mobile business for them. I made a quick website, no startup costs other than hosting and insurance, which I paid, and it started to take off. Her dad is working hard in the business. Her mom has refused to help in any way. Yesterday, my girlfriend made a throwaway comment about how she hopes she has her mom's figure when she is that age, and how her mom has the hers of the 21 years old. I said I couldn't comment, and she's not been off it for 3 years, so I can't remember what it looks like. My girlfriend is now upset with me and says I should be more respectful about her mom. I feel I put up with a lot. It's not easy to be male 35 and live with your in-laws for 3 years. I'm polite to them every time I see them, and I think I'm entitled to the emotional release of the old joke about it here and there. So, what do you think? I'm at the back for making peace after leaving my stepmother out of wedding dress shopping and not abiding by my dad's rules. My fiancé proposed to me last August. My mom decided to host an engagement party and invited her side of the family. Her and dad are divorced. Later, dad and stepmom asked to speak with my fiancé and I. I was upset about being left out of the celebration and not being treated equal to mom. I apologized, reminded her I love her like a mother, and explained to her that mom arranged the party and we did not mean to hurt any feelings. I said if there is any chance of that happening again, please not involve her in the first place. Asked her if she was sure. She said she was. After this, I keep A involved in the things I wanted her to be part of. I can't involve mom and A in the same time. The venue will be A's thing. This went well. We picked one mostly together. In October, I asked when we should start dress shopping. I told her I already had a dress I picked out. I went with my mother one hour before she left to study abroad. My mom and sister a month earlier. I didn't invite A because she asked me not to tell her about things I wasn't involving her in, and I will have had to pick between A and my mom. So I picked my mom. A sent me a message saying she couldn't be involved in the wedding anymore because it was too hurtful. I apologized. I visited again in January and didn't speak to A. Dad gave me all my childhood Christmas ornaments. I apparently wasn't invited back. A week later, my dad asked me to apologize to A for not inviting her to go dress shopping. I told him I have been the one making peace and apologized since I was a child. It is a pattern for A to blow things out of proportion and not take accountability for it. This is the first time that I have decided not to be the pacemaker and left it to Dad and A to fix things. After I made it clear I wasn't going to apologize, Dad said, I don't even want to go to your wedding because of this. Ouch. Yeah, a month later, Dad asked me to meet and talk, insisted we needed a consular presence on my side without being acknowledged. Before meeting, he said 8 rules I had to follow for him to be in the ceremony. 1. I can't treat A the way I've been treating her. 2. A will be at the wedding to support Dad. 3. It will only be the 2 of us walking down the aisle. 4. Mom and Stepdad will not be up in the ceremony at the same time as Dad. 5. I must see Dad away from Mom. 6. Dad will not include Mom in anything. If I ask who gives away this bride, he will respond, A and I do. 7. If I do not treat A with respect, Dad and A will leave as soon as the ceremony is over. 8. If I do not abide by these expectations, Dad will walk out during the ceremony. I tell him I won't be following his rules for my wedding, so I understand if he chooses not to be part of the ceremony. My aunt and cousin told me later that at Christmas Dad and I told everyone I was cheating on my fiancé before he proposed. This statement is completely fictional. Yesterday, I asked Dad for his RCVP. He said he booked vacation instead to celebrate Father's Day. So, what do you think? Am I the bad guy for cheating on a married guy I've been seeing? During the dissolution of my 20 years marriage, I started seeing a friend who was also married. We were together for the last 4 years of my marriage, which ended a few years ago. It was implied that we might end up together once he ended his marriage, which he claims but all but over, once his youngest graduated from high school. I felt as though every time I tried to get answer from him about our future, he was woke. He will say, I would like for us to be together, but I don't have a blueprint for that, and things like that. Never anything particularly definitive, which I try to respect because he's married and there are other people involved. A few times over the course of the relationship, I told him we needed to end this, and he always talked me out of it. Several months ago, I told him I couldn't do this for 3 more years. We had an emotional conversation, but at the end of it, he told me he understood and that he will always love me and hold me in a high regard. He then left his key to my apartment on the counter and left. I sat on the floor and sobbed. He came back into the apartment saying he wanted to grab a water, and we talked for a minute. Then we had a sex. He said, this isn't over until I said it's over, which he knew I would enjoy hearing. Months go by and I'm pulling away because I'm seeing the writing on the wall. I started seeing someone and didn't tell this guy. In my mind, there was no viable future, but I have tried ending things with him before him, and it was always a back and forth, and in the end, I'll give it. So I guess I figure I will just do what I want, since I wasn't getting what I wanted, and deal with the repercussions later. The repercussions came, no surprise. I was at the store with Guy 2 and ran into Guy 1, so the truth came out over the next couple of days during discussion with Guy 1, and I ended things with the Guy 2. I also tried to end things with the Guy 1 a few times, but Guy 1 was insisted that we could work through things and that it will be a process. I started to feel as though I was missing something before, and that he actually really wants to be with me. We have had several discussions about what our future looks like, and I feel like maybe we just weren't communicating well before. So Guy 1 feels several disrespected. But what I want to know is, I already know I'm seriously in the wrong for bringing Guy 2 into it, but how badly have I wronged Guy 1? So, write in the comments below what do you think. I'm at the back for now telling my mother what my aunt was doing to me. So, hello, I'm male 24. I've had my life flipped around. My mom was 10 and her sister, my aunt, was 14 when they immigrated from Taiwan. My mom got into a lot of trouble and she and my dad were both 14 when she got pregnant. My grandparents didn't let her get an abortion. I was so close to my mom until I was like 8, and then she just started partying, hanging out with friends, arguing with my grandparents all the time. There were a few times when she just took me after an argument and kept me away for a month or had my dad keep me. It kind of continued like that until I was 13 and my grandparents died. My aunt's engagement collapsed and she moved in to help my mom. My aunt groomed me and it messed me up. My grades dropped. I started screaming at mom and blaming how she used to act for how I acted. I got into fights at school, and I was so afraid of my aunt to the point where I'd start cuddling with my mom all night just to stay away from her. When I was 16, my aunt got pregnant and she moved away with a friend like a week later. She came over once after the baby. David was born, and when my mom went out for a little bit, she made me hold him and took a photo of us and said I should hold my son while I can. Then she moved with David to Taiwan, and started living with a cousin. I have tried to forget everything she did to me. I graduated with honors, and I got a wonderful job. I've tried to make my mom proud. I mean, I just got her a car. She calls my fiancé the daughter she never had. My fiancé is the only one I told this because I had to let her know. Apparently, last Monday, my aunt drunkenly told the cousin everything she did to me and about me being David's father. She got kicked out right away, and my mom was told everything by the cousin. My mom had a breakdown, and she asked me if she was really so horrible that I couldn't tell her this happens to me. She yelled that she would have been able to help, but because I didn't know her grandson had stuck with the monster. She kicked me out, saying I never must have forgiven her for how she used to act. I've talked to my fiancée about it, and she said my mom just needed time, and I can't fathom the idea that she has a grandson she can't help. I'm so confused. Was it wrong to never tell her? I'm at the beggar for declining to be my cousin's bridesmaid because her wedding is on the same week as my college graduation. My cousin, let's her call Polly, recently got engaged, and she announced that the wedding will be in the Puerto Rico next year. Polly is the first person in my generation to be getting married, so it is a very exciting thing for our entire extended family. Growing up, we were not super close since our parents didn't have a good relationship. However, as we were the only girls in our generation, she asked me to be a bridesmaid for her, which I'm very flattered by. The problem, however, is that the wedding on the same week as my college graduation, and my school graduation consists of week-long events, traditions, and ceremonies which I know might sound trivial, but I didn't have a high school graduation due to the pandemic, and my entire first year was online, so I have been looking forward to the graduation festivals for the past few years. I told Polly that I couldn't be her bridesmaid since I don't want to miss my graduation, and also that I probably won't have the bandwidth to help her with the all bridesmaid duties leading up to the wedding. I could still attend the actual ceremony since it's the day after my graduation, but I just wouldn't be able to arrive before then. My cousin got very upset and basically told me I'm being selfish for putting my wants over our family and threatened not to invite me to the wedding. I lost my temper and told her that she should go ahead and take my name off the list then since I cannot be her bridesmaid. Now my entire extended family is asking me to apologize to Polly and to agree to be her bridesmaid. My aunt Polly's mom actually suggested me to skip graduation altogether since they will just mail me the diploma if I can attend. My parents were not very happy with what my aunt said, and now they're having an argument with her and also said they will not attend the wedding either. I didn't mean for it to get to this, and now my grandparents are also getting involved. Yesterday, my grandma actually called me on, offered to pay for my flight to PR if I agreed to be Polly's bridesmaid, and it's really hurt because I've already made peace with the fact that she isn't coming to my graduation since she can afford the extra plane ticket to fly from home to my college and then to PR, and the wedding is more important, which is I 100% understand. But now it just feels like she doesn't even care. So I'm not the bad guy for doing this. I thought I was justified for not wanting to miss graduation week, but now I'm not sure anymore considering all the reactions from my extended family and especially my grandma.